Should we rock and roll?
Recording in progress. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of our first volume one of our Wealth Mastery series. This is something that we intend to do every month, where we're bringing you something of value to not only help you, but help you build additional income in your business and create passive wealth. And my coach and I, Tim, we were talking about what this will look like rolling out. And of course, he said, if we're going to start this, let's start from the beginning. And the beginning being the fundamentals. There's no way we can go out and build a massive business and start creating unlimited streams of income if our mindset isn't right. So today we're starting at the foundation. So we're building on the fundamentals right now, because we know to sustain wealth, we need to change our thinking. There's this saying where 90% of everyone who wins the lottery go back broke within 5 to 7 years because they didn't become a millionaire in their mind. And our goal today is to create millionaires in your mind first, so that we can go out and make $1 million and then have multiple streams of millions coming in. So Tim is my business coach. He's going to be our coach for me as the OP for our market center. He's also going to be coaching our 2 TLs. Tim has done this many times. And Tim, I'm just honored to have you here, be a part of our brokerage and share this with us. So it's all on you now.
Awesome. Well, hey, it's an honor to be with you guys. And first, I just want to start out by saying, great work on the amazing things you all are doing. It's been awesome. Colin and I have been in partnership for a couple months now, and I'm kind of the guy looking behind the scenes, behind the curtain, if you will, looking at numbers and looking at everything that you guys are doing, because after all, the success in a market center is squarely on the associates that we have, right? So it's all on you guys. So I want to express gratitude to you all for all the great things you're doing, and for being here, right? Because everybody's time is valuable. And I can commit to you that you'll find this time valuable, and that you're going to be able to take action from it. So thank you for that. I'll do a little brief intro on me. And so again, my name is Tim Bodwin. I wear a lot of hats, and I'm going to talk about that throughout this session. But I'm an OP. I'm also still a team leader in role. So I'm an OP in one market center, team leader in another market center. I'm a MAPS leadership head coach. So I coach leadership, and then I'm also a head coach for Canada. So one of the things we're doing, and I'm just going to put this out there to all of you, is we are building up a very powerful MAPS Canada division. And so we are both looking for folks that, like yourselves, that are big thinkers, high-minded individuals, to get into coaching, right? To take on a coach, and we're looking for coaches. So we're looking for agent coaches to coach. So if either one of those things appeal to you, that would be interesting. I'd welcome, to personally have a conversation with you about those things. So that's the other hat I wear, is as a MAPS leadership head coach for Canada. Also, I'm a KWU faculty. Now, here's the thing. And right now, presently, I live in Washington, D.C. So here's the thing I would say around this journey we're going to go on today around wealth. First and foremost, the thing I just want to set the foundation with is wealth creation is a journey, right? So a lot of people, as we start to jump into this, guys, a lot of people get stuck either because they have limiting beliefs around, I'm not at a place where I can do that, or, I have too much debt, so I can't start, or there's limiting beliefs. We're going to walk through a lot of that, but just remember throughout this, it's a journey, right? And this particular session, myself and another OP co-wrote this together, and we presented it to our teams and have presented it to a lot of different audiences. Because what we found, guys, is there's a lot of training and coaching and so forth out there about the how-to, right? Hey, if you want to invest in real estate, here's how you do that. Or hey, if you want to invest in the stock market, here's how you do that. We couldn't find really any training that was really focused on the mindset, And as Colin alluded to, and this is a coaching fundamental, right, guys? We can't get to where we want to be unless our mind is in the right place. This topic, guys, in particular, as we go through it, it should, if you're taking this in and you're absorbing it, you should feel some emotion around this. You really should, because we're going to go into some kind of raw areas, and those emotions are going to be unique to each of you, right? Some of you are going to feel a lot of limiting beliefs. A few of you are going to maybe it's going to bring back some memories of childhood. Because here's the thing, guys, when we look at our programming as adults, where does most of our programming stem from? What do you guys think? Who wants to jump on and answer that?
Well, it's from our childhood, I would say,
It's from our childhood. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. It starts there, right?
And you hear money doesn't grow on tree, right? So
yeah, and I'll talk about a couple examples of that as we move forward. So today is really that, guys. So if you're here to really get in that space around, okay, I'm going to get my head right, and then I'm going to go tactical, right? So we can't go tactical until we've got our head in the right space. Then you can go tactical and say, okay, here are the directions we're going to go, and I'm going to give you some ideas there too. So if we're all here for that conversation, you're in the right spot. All right, so we're going to move forward. So one thing, guys, before I jump in is I want this to be collaborative as well. So feel free to jump on, ask questions, share experiences. I want this to be interactive. Colin, maybe you can be my co-pilot. The one thing I'm not very skilled at is watching the chat.
okay.
So trying to present and watch chat challenges me. So maybe it's just me, and that's all right. But if you could help me with that, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you could feel free to jump in the chat channel or just speak up. So here's what we set as a goal, guys, right? And this is our goal as an organization. So I'm weaving in some of the things that I'm working on as an OP with my team. So I'm going to share those with you. So our goal as we presented this is to support and build leaders who build wealth in their businesses, their market centers, and their communities, right? So this is a much bigger thing than just any one of us, right? Because wealth is a widely encompassing thing depending on what your vision is. So I really challenge you individually to look at your vision and your mission. And by the way, guys, just a little bonus in this is you should be, hint, hint, working on your business plans right now for next year. I'll give you a little nudge, right? So if you're not working on your business plan, don't panic. You're a little behind, but you're not hugely behind. So start to work on that, right? If you're not doing that, through that process, guys, you should always go back to your mission. Like, so more specifically, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? I set a goal to sell, 30 houses next year. Why is that important? Why does it matter? Yeah, we need to support our families, and we need to, we need to pay our mortgages and all that. I get that. But what's the bigger reason? Why are we doing what we're doing? Right? And most of us, when we came into real estate, like I've been in this about 9 years, many of you probably are in this a lot longer, some might be shorter. The point is, you got into it for a reason, right? So you've got to go back and revisit that. And then you're going to tie this wealth journey back to that. Okay, so we'll talk more about that. So here's where I want to open it up. So I've got a full presentation here of great material, but I want to hear from you guys as you thought about today, and you're like, okay, I'm going to jump on this call, and there's going to be value here for me, right? Or you wouldn't be here. So I want to hear from you guys. Is there anything specifically you want to make sure we cover around this idea of wealth and mindset?
Can I speak up?
You sure can.
I don't know if I have a specific thing I would like you to bring up so much as sort of a whole circle of how you get started and where this can lead and how I can stop being so fearful of jumping in.
Yeah, I love that. So I'm just making a note, and we will definitely cover that. That goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? About a lot of people just get stuck and they don't know where to start. So we will definitely address that for sure. Thank you for that. I think, Matt, you have a hand up there.
Yes, I do indeed. Hey, Tim, nice to meet you. Honestly, where I struggle personally is setting up realistic goals and sub goals.
Okay.
So maybe some best practices around those. I just, I find myself setting up really aggressive goals, and I kill myself hitting them. So I do hit them, but I think there's an easier way.
Yeah, let me just ask a question on that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Matt. So do you find that you set aggressive goals for a year, or do you feel like you set aggressive goals for 5 years out, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, we'll definitely jump into that. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
I'd like to jump in.
You bet.
So earlier in life, my father always said, pay yourself first. And I've always worked on that model, but now, and I bought my second house, but my fear still is situated around the loss of money and how to do it independently. I mean, I have partners and, but how do I take my next steps?
Yeah.
I set myself up for success, but not successful without connections and relationships.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, are you getting into like business partnerships on investments where there's other people that are investing with you? Okay.
Yep. But I'm
So
ready to go on
you're
my
saying
own.
what's my journey to just do this on my own?
Got
it. Okay.
Stay where I am.
Got it. Love that. No, we'll hit on that a little bit as well. Love that.
On
All
the
right.
flip
Anyone
side,
else? Oh, go ahead.
I'll join in with Faye there. I've done quite a few purchases and sales independently, and now I'm looking to partner with other people, and I don't know what that looks like.
Got it. So that's sort of the opposite, or the reverse rather. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And here's the thing, guys, too, just to be really transparent, we're going to hit on some of these things. Some of these things we won't go deep tactically in, okay, just to kind of understand that, but we'll hit on these. And, Colin, for you, this is a good opportunity to make your list too, of future sessions, that either I or others can support on. So love that. Love that. Okay, great. Well, if there's others, definitely, jump in the chat or as we move forward, you can add. So thank you guys for sharing. Let's jump forward. So here's where we're gonna hit on today, guys, and we're gonna really just cover these 7 keys, right? So Colin knows this about me, and that I'm, as a coach and as a leader, I'm all about simplifying. So I'm all about, let's take something complex and let's simplify it down to steps or different keys. So we're going to kind of go through some of these, and the goal through all of this is to really simplify and hopefully in your mindset sort of unclutter in some of these areas. Okay, so this is how we're gonna approach the session. So the first step we're going to jump in, and we talked a little bit about this, is around knowing your purpose, right? And so I wanted to share our market center, and again, I'm going to take you into some things, some belief systems that I have, and some things that we're working on as a market center. These are our core beliefs and perspectives from a market center standpoint, and these were built not in a silo, by the way. These aren't my ideas. These aren't right. I brought my top agents together in my leadership team, and we built these together. Right. And what core beliefs and perspectives mean is this is the foundation in which we operate under. Right. These are our beliefs. So it's similarly, I think a good analogy, guys, on this would be depending on what your faith is or whatever that looks like for you individually, there's a core set of beliefs and fundamentals and perspectives that faith operates under. Are you guys tracking with me? And so that's kind of what we're doing here, guys, right? We're saying, here's what our market center stands for. Here's who we strive to be. So we strive to deliver a strong ethic of service, right? So as leaders and agents, we're servant leaders, right? So this ethic of service, constant learning. So again, we're with Keller Williams, so we should all hopefully believe in that, right? Because that's part of I know for myself and many of us, that's what attracted us to this model, right? Is that, wow, there's like unlimited educational opportunities. So we should always be in that mindset of, I don't know everything, right? I don't know everything, and I can always know more, right? So that hunger for learning, relentless pursuit of results, right? That means we're driven, right? That means that we're here to crush our goals, and we're here to do what's, to crush our own goals, which then drive what's important to us in our own lives, right? We're team players, right? So that's a key. That culturally, that's a big deal. We build bridges, and that's everything from in the market center, guys, to even outside, right? Like the work that we do in real estate, we can impact so many people. Would you guys agree? Like when you think about it, like when we're out, one of the, I'll just give you an example, guys. One of the partnerships that I'm involved in is we go into areas of the Washington, D.C. area that I'm in that are kind of run down areas that people have given up on, and we buy property and we reinvigorate that neighborhood. And we do it through commercial, we do it through residential, and it's this idea that we want to bring people back to the neighborhood, and we want to build these neighborhoods up. So we're building bridges, right? So there's a lot of impact there, even outside of the real estate world, right? So we're building those bridges. Personal responsibility. The one thing, and I think I've said this to Colin, I say this all the time to everyone that I partner with and coach with, is, Keller Williams is kind of like a big buffet. Would you guys agree with that? Like there's so much that you can take advantage of. But here's the thing, we're all in this together. We all own our own learning experience, right? We own our own learning experience. So while there's all this great stuff out there, we have to take that personal responsibility to engage. Does that make sense? So that's the other thing that, and again, I'm just sharing these as a perspective of what our belief system is. We're wealth builders, and this ties into the conversation today, right? So we're committed to being on the journey of building wealth. Now, let me be clear on this, guys. This is sometimes where people get sideways too. We've set a goal as a market center, and this is something you guys may want to do as a team. And this came from the agents, by the way. This wasn't me driving this, to say, we want to set a goal around how many millionaires we want to have over a period of time. So our goal within our market center organization is to have 25 agent millionaires in our brokerage within the next 3 years. Okay, now here's the thing to be clear about. That's not everyone's journey, and that's okay. You may say, well, you know what? I don't have an interest in being a millionaire. And that's okay, right? Like not everyone is on the same journey is my point, right? Like, so the point is though, pick your journey, right? And figure out what's impactful to you and what's important, and then drive to that journey. It may not be being a millionaire. For some of you, it might be, I just want to get out of debt. Right? There may be some of you out here, so I have way too much debt. Like, how do I do that? That's a wealth building journey, guys. Right? So are you guys with me? So don't let anyone else dictate your journey. It's yours. You get to create your own story. So sometimes, for those of you that have attended BOLD, we talk about comparing our insides to other people's outsides, right? That's my point in this. Right, your journey. So wealth building means whatever that journey is for you. And then positive outlook, right? We always believe that we keep that positive outlook, and that we focus on the solution, not the problem. So anything you guys want to share, or any of these resonate with you, I just thought I'd share these. What did you guys take from this so far? Anything? What are you guys thinking? This is where you can participate back, by the way. There we go. Hey, David's got his hand up, I think. There we go.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi
I'm
there.
brand new to the brokerage. Just kind of alluding to what you were talking about before. It seems like you're trying to be pretty macro, high level needs, kind of like, as one person was bringing up, you can't, look at a very short vision. You got to be able to create high level needs and be very kind of, big picture type of thing rather than, looking at individual things like on the micro level.
Yeah, love that. Faye, I think you have a hand up.
I do. I've learned a lot in the last year, especially from the coaching that I'm taking within Keller Williams, but it's come with a solution. I don't want to hear the problem. And this is why I'm in this group with Keller Williams. And I mean, Stevie showed us a couple of weeks ago. We learn as children how to problem solve, but as adults in the real world, we have to come up with a solution.
Yes.
And this is why I'm on this call.
Yeah, well, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That is so true. For those of us with kids, I'm sitting here nodding at you because I was having this conversation with my wife actually yesterday about our son. So yeah, completely can relate. Stevie, you have your hand up.
I was just going to say that I know it's not everyone's goal, but I think that goal of 25 millionaires in 3 years is fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I can support you guys in that. We can go deep into that in another call, like how we've set up our group. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So love that. Love that. Is there anyone else that has a hand up that I missed? Maybe Colin, you can help me a little bit with that.
I think we're good there.
All right, awesome. So let's keep moving forward here. All right. So here again, I'm going to go through these really quick. These are what we view as our key principles to guide our future. Again, from a market center standpoint, we say stand for something, right? If we're not clear on what we stand for, and that goes back to, that ties into your vision and your mission, right? Like what do we stand for? Think big, act small. Right. So a lot of times this gets reversed. We act big, we think small. So thinking big is how big of a vision do you have out there? And then acting small means that we're taking actions that are incremental. Because here's the thing to remember, guys, too, and this even in your businesses, right? It's progress, not perfection. Right? Progress, not perfection. That's a key. I as a team leader, and some of you might be able to relate to this or not, you get somebody that comes in and they get stuck in the weeds, right? And they, and I'm gonna pick on new agents for a minute. New agents are awesome, and we've had a lot of successful new agents. Here's sometimes where new agents get challenged though, right? It's not progress, it's perfection, right? So I need to have my website set up. I need to have my business cards. I need to have this. I need to have that. Like they're stuck in that. I need everything perfect before I lead generate. Does anyone ever observe that? Or maybe you're vulnerable and say, gosh, I was maybe there too, until someone coached me out of that space. And then what happens is you don't launch, right? You get all this stuff ready. You're getting ready to get ready. And then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I'm out of money. Like, what happened? It's 6 months later, right? And you weren't focused on lead generation. Lead generation, by the way, that's the incremental progress, not perfection step, right? Like I just jump in. And then as I do it, my conversion gets better. You guys with me? So think big, act small, collaborate and grow. Like as a market center, guys, as you're in Colin, my hat's off to you, man, for setting this up, right? Like this is the first step. So this group, right, is the first group. Like you guys like are powerful as a team, and there's a lot of knowledge on this Zoom. I know there is. Collaborate and grow together. That's kind of, Stevie, that's where we started with our millionaire goal. Again, it came from our agents. A group of agents came to me and said, hey, you need to hold us accountable. Let's set a goal as a market center. How cool would it be if we had X amount of people, that were millionaires in the next 3 years? Great. And then we built, we built out a group, right? Lead with revenue, right? That's the fundamental foundation of MREA, right? Hopefully you guys have all read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, right? Lead with revenue is the fundamental foundation of the economic model and the budget model. So that's a key principle to this conversation. We want to invest in people. So for those of you that were sharing that you're in partnerships and ventures, and one of you mentioned, I want to get into partnerships, how do I do that? We're going to talk a little bit about who you surround yourself really does indeed matter. And we're going to talk about how it ties into that. And then we're planting seeds for the future, right? So this journey of wealth building requires a level of patience as well, right? So you have to always have that mindset of the right things I'm doing now. When I plant, you use the analogy, guys, of seeds, right? If I plant a seed in the garden, I don't see anything right now. It's just dirt, right? For some of us that are any of us highly impatient on here? Am I alone? I'm really impatient. Yeah, there's a few of us, right? That's hard for us. We're like, I don't want to see the dirt. I want to see the plant. Where is it? Well, I just planted the seed an hour ago, right? You guys with me? So we have to be good with, hey, sometimes we're just planting seeds. Now, we have to water the seeds or they don't come up. So there's work that you do to move that forward. Are you guys with me? Does that make sense? So for us impatient people, we have to be patient in that. So here's where I want to talk a little bit about vision. And I want to just read this first quote that I love and I think about often is, in the long run, men or women, this is a quote, so not my quote, but Henry David Thoreau, in the long run, men hit only what they aim at, right? They hit only what they aim at. So are you clear on where you want to go? Again, it doesn't have to be $1 million, in net worth or wealth, right? But you have to have clarity on what it is for you, right? So I'll give you just a quick example for me. And it's very simple. And by the way, don't overcomplicate it either, right? For me, and this goes back to how I was brought up, because remember at the beginning, we talked about a lot of our feelings and emotions and how we act around this idea of money and wealth come from our experience as a child. So I lost my father at a young age. I was still in high school, and it was an unexpected, had a heart attack. And he was a really smart businessman, right? And I learned a lot from him at a young age. But here's the thing, he didn't have his financial house in order, right? He wasn't expecting to die of a massive heart attack, right? So when he passed away, it caused a lot of, what do I want to say, uncertainty, a lot of fear, a lot of emotion as a child, in the beginning of high school, around stability and what I knew to be stable as a child, right? So for me, what's important to me is, if heaven forbid that would happen to me, I've got kids right now. I'm on a journey around building wealth, and my vehicle for this, guys, is investment properties. So again, that's the other thing you want to do. You want to pick your vehicle, right? So I've had a set a very aggressive goal. Every year we're buying a certain amount of investment properties with the sole purpose of creating that stability. That came from an emotion within me based on my childhood. You guys tracking with me on that? So that's my story, right? Everybody has a different story on here. But that's where, so don't overcomplicate it. Don't say, gosh, I guess I need to be a millionaire. No, like that, it doesn't have to be that, right? It's whatever is the fire within you that motivates that, right? So we're gonna dig more into that, but you need to have a target. That's the key. You need to have a target. So here's a couple questions I just want to throw out there to get our minds thinking a little bit. And the coach and me, you guys knew, and I know Colin knew this, you knew there'd be questions. So here we go. So here's the thing, how much money would you need to have to consider yourself wealthy? Now, this question itself, you guys might be, oh my gosh, you've stumped me on this, and that's okay. You may not right now have clarity on that, but I want to set that out there. And if anyone wants to answer it, you can feel free to jump in. You don't have to, but please write these questions down, and I'll share this slide deck. Because the next couple of questions we're gonna go through, guys, are really important to start this journey for yourself. So anyone want to jump into that one? How much money would you need to have to consider yourself wealthy? Anybody bold enough to jump out there with an answer?
I will.
All right, love it.
Basically just enough to not stress about money at all and be able to purchase things with, you know, without worrying about where your next paycheck is coming from.
I love that. So here's where I'm going to challenge you. What's the number?
Oh. Like, what's the number of what you would want, say, in your bank account?
Well, so what I hear you saying is, and I love this. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you don't want to stress about money. You want to have enough money coming in to where you can, you know, you can buy what you need to buy and not stress about making those purchases, right?
Correct. And
what you're
know
saying?
that there's more money coming in, like, you know, when you're getting more income.
Yeah. So no, I love that. So do you know what that number would be? So you could say, you know what, if I had X amount coming in every month, I wouldn't worry about what I'm spending. I wouldn't worry about my next check. Yeah, I wouldn't be stressing about any of that. Is there a number that would come in every month that would do that for you?
Well, 10,000 a month would be amazing.
Okay, cool. There you go. I love that. So you guys see where we're going with this? So 10,000 could be that goal, right? So then you say, great. So for you, that's what you'd consider. It's going to be different for everybody.
Mhm.
Right. And that's my point in this is you want to, it's not a one size fits all, but the exercise we just went through, thank you for jumping on and doing that with me. That's the exercise you want to go through. By the way, these are great questions to bring to your partner, spouse, significant other, whoever is important to you in your life. Because here's the thing, ask them the question. And here's what I would do. And this is going to be eye-opening, guys. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, bring these questions, you answer it. And just, you ask the question, say, okay, we're both going to write it down on a piece of paper. And then find out if you're in alignment. Right? So the young lady that just jumped on, I missed your name. I apologize. You said 10,000, right? If I were your spouse or significant other, I might say 20,000. Guys, see where I'm going with that? Like, oh my, like we're not in alignment on that. And what do most couples, significant others, whoever's important to you, what do you typically not talk about?
Money.
You're typically not having this conversation. Am I right?
Oh no, my husband makes sure we talk about money.
No, and that's awesome. I love that. But are you having this specific conversation around money?
No.
Yeah.
Can I jump in?
You bet. Go for it.
So I love the game Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's very hard to get a hold of. I paid for it a decade ago, $200 US. And I love the doodad cards because my doodad this week, or this year, is my roof went $17,000. I'm outside right now putting a new roof in, and I'm sitting here going, $10,000 is not going to cover that for me, you know. And I'm at an age, a different age than some of these younger people. I'm looking forward to my retirement.
Yeah.
You know, so I've got household expenses, but you know, you could be the doctor who has a doodad card, you know, and or you could be the young person who has children.
Yep.
So my future now is on medical.
Yeah.
Different from yours because you're in the United States, but our medical's changing here in Canada.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and here's the other thing I think about. I love that. Here's the other one I want to throw out there, guys, too, around income. You've got active income and you've got passive income. Now, in our company, I don't know, guys. I don't know about you, but when I came into, I'll just be vulnerable. When I came into Keller Williams, my eyes opened to the opportunity of passive income. I was a corporate guy. Many of you may have come from the corporate world too, where, you know, my way to earn money was to get a promotion, you know, or get a different job at a different company that paid more, and to max out my bonus and pension. And maybe there were stock options, right? Like, you come into Keller Williams, I don't know about you guys, but there's multiple streams of income that you can develop at Keller Williams. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. So here's where I challenge you too. When you talk about wealth, you want to ask another question. You want to quantify, is this wealth passive or is it active? Because I'll share with you, like, and I'll be vulnerable. I'm turning 50 this year. And so in talking with my wife, my goal is by the time I'm 55, I want to have enough passive income coming in where all of our expenses are covered. And if I chose not to work, I don't have to. Doesn't mean I'm going to quit working. So don't worry, Colin. I'm not hanging it up. But do you guys follow where I'm going with that? Like, so be clear on that. Is it active income or is it passive? Or it could be a combination of both. Okay. So next question. So that the follow-up question, and this is good, especially if you're doing this with a significant other, spouse, whoever matters. How did you pick that number? Right. So dig into that with each other. Because if I say 20, young lady said, 10, we've got a gap there. So why did you pick 10? Why did I pick 20? Right? That's where you can really get clarity on this. So how did you pick the number? And then this is a great question too. And this goes beyond money, guys, right? This goes beyond just cash in the bank. What is your definition of a financially wealthy person? Right? What is your definition? Now you could go into the dictionary and you could look that up and you could come up with an answer to that, but it's what is your definition? Because all of us on this screen, if I went around the loop, probably it'll have a different definition of what that means. Right? Like mine is really, guys, about passive income. I'm really about a financially wealthy person isn't somebody that's just bringing in a lot of cash every month from a job, right? Going back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? The job, the job. But a financially wealthy person has enough passive income coming in to support their lifestyle as well as their legacy, right? Now, my definition isn't the right version. It's not the wrong version. It's my version. You guys with me? So think about that for yourselves. How do you define that? So back to relationships, and again, this isn't a therapy call, but here's the thing, guys, like that's where a lot of issues come up in relationships too. We're not in sync, right? We're not in sync. And a lot of how do we talk in bold about clarity is power. So just having this conversation can be the foundation of moving forward through that. Are you guys with me? How many of you at times, it's okay, like you be vulnerable or not, but have avoided this conversation with a spouse or significant other? You're like, we're not in alignment and I'm just not going to go there, right? Like, so yeah, so that happens. So these are 3 key questions. So this is a takeaway. This is some homework for you guys to really dig into that. Here's Gary Keller's version. So I thought I'd put that up because Gary Keller's a pretty smart guy, right? I think we're in agreement with that. So Gary says, I believe that financially wealthy people are those that have enough money coming in without having to work to finance their purpose in life. Now we're in a whole nother realm. You're like, oh my gosh, now you're asking me to define my purpose in life. Some of you are like, I'm not even halfway through the call and I have all this homework to do, right? So yes, you have to look at your purpose in life. And that goes back to this thing we call the big why, right? Or your mission, like back to what I said, why are we doing what we're doing? So Gary would say that we have enough money coming in to finance our purpose in life. By the way, just and again, we look at Gary as a model, right? Gary's pretty successful and he's got a good amount of money. If you didn't know that, I will just tell you that, right? Why does Gary not retire? Why do you think he just doesn't hang it up and retire and go fishing? And by the way, he's got a place in West Virginia. He loves to fish. Why doesn't he just do that? What do you guys think?
Because he has a purpose.
Yeah, his purpose is for all of us to grow. Right? Exactly. That's what motivates Gary is he's like, I can't stop doing what I'm doing because that will then become the ceiling for everyone else around me, including all of us, by the way. So that's a pretty darn powerful purpose. Now, that's Gary's purpose. That doesn't have to be your purpose, but get in alignment with that. What does that mean for you? Okay. We're talking about know your purpose. So here's the thing. Some of these I'm gonna go through these slides somewhat quickly. And And I see a couple hands. So I'm gonna pause a second because I want to respect those of you that have your hands up. So I see David, your hand's been up for a while. You want to share, or are you guys just stretching your electronic hands? Oh, I don't know if
That was an
David.
accident.
Oh, do you want to share something, or did you just leave your hand up?
I didn't take my hand off. I'm good, thanks.
All right, awesome. Who else do we have, Colin? Maybe you can help me. Oh, I think I saw Farhan.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so when you had the other couple of questions, that's when I put my hand up, and I kind of wanted to put this out there for myself, so so I can keep working towards it. Wealthy for myself, I define it as sustainable wealth. So if I were to put a number on it, I would like to put 500,000, because I'm halfway there to 1 million, and if I were to generate that in the next few years, it would put me in a position to kind of follow in your footsteps and go for that passive income where I can buy investment properties and create that sustainable passive income. And that is one of my big goals in the next 5 to 10 years.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, because I so appreciate you putting that out there. This is the first step, right, guys? Like, I love that, like clarity on the goal, right? And then we can build on that and say, okay, great. Like, because here's the thing, guys, that's half the battle sometimes, is being clear on what your goal is. It sounds simple, but it's not easy for a lot of us. Once we put it out there in the universe, it becomes real. And then we have coaches, we have mentors, we have team leaders in your organization. Like, you've got an awesome group, guys, that can then help you hold you accountable. Right. So once we put it out there, it's real. So love that. Love it. Did I miss any other hands, Colin? I'm just scrolling through here.
Well, I think we're good there.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for jumping in, guys. So here's an illustration. I think this is important, guys, because this is back to the planting seeds. And what happens is, and this is the analogy I use with a lot of just agents in general around the work that we all do, right? So there's a lot of media out there around real estate and how easy it is to make money and all the glitz and the glam, and what they look at is they're looking at the profit, right? They're looking at the easy part. This is an illustration, kind of shows that it's an iceberg is what it is, and the real work that's being done is underneath the surface, right? And it all starts with this foundation of purpose, right? Because let's face it, that when we're in the grind, if you will, of what we do, there are days that are tough. Am I right? Like, there's days where you're like, wow, like, why am I doing this? And then you go back to that purpose, right? So I'm doing this because I'm clear on my purpose. So I'm going to push through, and tomorrow is going to be an awesome day. And we're going to keep moving forward, right? So that's the purpose. That's the foundation. Then you look at priority, right? Okay, so you're clear on the purpose, and you say, okay, that's what motivates you to do what's most important, right? The priority is, what am I doing most important? And where this ties into this wealth journey, once you have clarity around your vision, your mission, the goal, then you tie it to the purpose. Then the priority is the action that you start to take. Because we have to do more than think about it, right? And wish it. We have to then get into action. And that's where we begin to prioritize that. And how am I going to build that into my world to move it forward? And that's where you get to productivity, right, guys? Because productivity is like you're doing it, right? So as an agent, purpose is why you're doing what you're doing. Priority is, okay, I need to lead generate, right? So I need to make sure that's in my calendar. I need to make sure I'm purposeful about it. I prioritize it, because I know if I don't do that, we don't drive any revenue. Productivity is, now I'm doing it. Like, I'm on the phone, I'm doing it, I'm making the calls, I'm learning, I'm going to trainings, I'm doing those things, right? And then that drives your profit ultimately. So then when you do all those things correctly, you get a commission, right? I'm using our role as a real estate agent as an example. And then what does profit drive? Well, profit then should drive what your impact is, right? And that's everything that's important to you in your world. So I bring this out because I think this is just a great foundational model, number one, for business. And then I think as you're moving forward in this wealth building journey, all of those pieces you need to move forward, right? And you need to start with that foundation at the bottom. Because if we started with productivity instead of purpose, those days that are hard days, that we're like, man, I should just go back to the corporate world and take a salary, right? Has anyone else ever felt that, right? And that's where the purpose pushes you through. Okay, you guys with me? All right. So here's what I want to talk about is adopting a mindset, right? So when we talk about how we think, right, as individuals, here's what we know. We know that our beliefs that we have move our actions forward, right? So if we have beliefs or we have limiting beliefs, it works either way. We have beliefs, that's going to power actions forward. If we have limiting beliefs, right, we ultimately don't get into action. That's because we stall out right there, right? Because we for whatever reason don't believe we can do it, or it's possible, or all the things we hear, right? So our beliefs dictate our actions. What actions we take then dictate our results. So for those of you that have been through Bold before, you will recognize this, right? This is from Bold. So this is why this session today we're focused on, right? Is this idea of mindset beliefs. And then we get into action, and then the actions are going to bring results. I'm gonna again blow through some of these slides just for time. So here's another question I'd ask you. This is another homework question that you're going to answer on your own. Is what is your belief or mindset around wealth right now? Right. So really do some journaling work around what beliefs or mindset do I have around my wealth journey? Right. Be honest about what, with yourself around where you're at within and where you want to be. Right. So again, that's another thing to work on. I want to share this too, and I'm not going to read all these guys, and I'll share these slides so you have them. But there's a really amazing book out there, and it's authored by T. Harv Eker, and it's The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Mastering the Inner Game of Wealth. Has anyone heard of this book or read this book? Okay, Colin, awesome. I don't see any other hands. This is a really good book. Would you agree, Colin?
Absolutely. One of my favorite books on creating your financial blueprint, per se.
Yep. So I would highly suggest this book. Highly suggest it. It's on Gary Keller's book list as well. This is a good foundational book to get. This book will help you too if you've got some mindset stuff going on that you can't break through. Really good stuff. But I want to read a few of these because I think they're really powerful. So, and again, these are his beliefs, right? This isn't Tim. This is T. Harv Eker's beliefs, right? And this is studying the mindset of the rich. So I'm gonna read a few of these. Rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happens to me. Boy, that sounds familiar, right? Could that be victim or victor? Mm-hmm. Right? Am I living my life in victim, or am I control my life? That sounds like it came from Bold. So yeah, that one's a good one. A couple other ideas. I just want to pick a couple of these out. Rich people are focused on opportunities. Poor people are focused on obstacles. Right. So another way of saying that, guys, are we focused on the problem or the solution? Right. Rich people think big, poor people think small. Right. Let me I'm gonna flip to the next page. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one too. Rich people think both. Poor people think either or. Right. And the context of that is, am I thinking in abundance or am I thinking in scarcity? Right. So again, really significant stuff mindset wise. Rich people manage their money well, poor people mismanage their money well. That one makes me chuckle a little bit, right? Either way, they're doing it well. But yeah, so how do we manage money? That may be a journey for some of you, and that's okay. Like that, what was the other one I wanted to? Oh, the last one, rich people constantly learn and grow. That sounds like our environment, right? If we're with Keller Williams, that probably one of the things we came over here for was the education and systems and models, right? So we're constantly learning and growing. Poor people think they already know, right? So their mindset is that there's not anything more I can learn, or my circumstances have dictated where I am in life. Nothing I can do about it. Not my fault. Like my parents taught me everything I know about money, and that's the way I am. Right? Not true, right? So definitely get that book, guys. That's a really good book. Someone also mentioned Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Love that. Any of those books by Robert Kiyosaki are really good on wealth journeys. So he does the cash flow quadrant, which is really, really a good book. And then his claim to fame, Robert Kiyosaki, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Both of those are good books. So be a student of this too, right? And get those books. So next thing I want to jump into is this idea of remargining your life. And here's the thing, guys. This is, and some of you may be in this place, and this is okay. There's a lot of people that are. Right? There's a lot of people that are. It's okay. So a lot of you might say, "Gosh, I've got wealth or I've got debt to take care of. I've got credit cards. I've got this. I've got that." Creating that plan around debt is an important place to start, right? And so here's just something I want to throw out there, and this is good. So the secret to wealth, right? We're all waiting for it. Like, what is the secret to wealth, Tim? You're saying, okay. Here it is in all its wisdom. Make more than you spend and invest the difference wisely. So I'm laughing when I say that because, again, we say, oh, well, that's pretty, I get that intellectually. Like, you didn't tell me anything I didn't know, right? It's simple, not easy, is my point, right, guys? So making more than you spend and investing the difference wisely. Here's the thing too. Are we tracking our money? We're tracking our money, right? I mean, it's funny. I came into my market center, and some of this may resonate with some of you on this line. I would say that as real estate agents, we are business owners. Would you guys agree? Like we're business owners, and so how many of us have a P&L? Right? You don't have to raise your hand, but how many of us? Think about that. If we don't have a P&L, that's a great way to start, guys. Have a P&L at home for your personal account, and then a P&L for your business account. Now, notice I said there's two accounts too, right? So some of you, it's okay. Some of you may be operating everything out of one account, right? So if you're a business owner, two separate accounts, one for the business, one personal, and run a P&L on both. Right? So you have a P&L. So that's a foundational step, right? When you say, well, yeah, that makes sense. We make more than we spend, and then we invest the rest. We don't know what we're making and what we're spending. That's a problem, right? Like we can't go there. So again, if you're not there, homework, right? Start there. So here's another way for those of us that are visual, like me, right? Here's a chart that kind of shows this in a very visual way. And in all joking aside, like this is a basic concept, guys, but this is really important. And with some people, I'll actually show them this slide. Right? I'll actually show them this slide, and it makes sense in a different way, because what you have here is you've got time and you've got dollars, right? Time is your bottom, and dollars is up on the side, right? And what happens is if your expenses are flat over time and your income goes up, then that gap in the middle is what you should be saving. You guys with me? You all get that, right? We're on board. What happens with most people? What does most people's chart look like? What do you guys think?
The expenses go up.
Expenses go up. Yeah, expenses are not flat. right? So expenses go up. Now, do they go up? Would you say they go up equally with income, or do they go up more than income?
Go up faster than income.
Oh, say that again.
I see they go up faster than income
They
people.
go up, yeah. For
They
a
get more
lot of
expenses,
people,
like things start happening, like, kids and other expenses, and people, when they make some money, start buying nicer cars and nicer trips and etc.
yeah, yeah, they go up, and that's how we get into debt, right, guys? Like, this is kind of economics 101, right? That's how we ultimately get into debt, because we're out spending our income, and we've got credit, right? And we say, okay, great. So I'm gonna go borrow from here, and then I'm gonna make more money next month, and we do or we don't, and we get sideways in that. So yeah, most people don't follow this grid. This is powerful though. So you say, okay, how do I get out of that rut? When you build a plan around that, right? You say, okay, how am I going to strategically kind of shovel my way out of that? And that takes planning, right? Does that make sense, guys, where I'm going with that? So this is just a powerful grid to look at. So the key is to start saving. And, a lot of books that you'll read will talk about, save what you can, right? Like, even if it's a minimal amount, just start now. Start saving something now. And then you accelerate your savings over time, right? So as you can save more, you begin to do that. And then there's this whole idea of the multiplication of the savings, and then how you reinvest that piece. So here's the thing too, and I'm going to jump into this. So time perspective, guys, right? A couple of you mentioned, the getting started, and then one of you mentioned this idea of how I set goals to this year, and then how do I set goals to 5 years out, and then I set my goals too high, or I don't hit my goals, probably a better way to put it. So this section is really a powerful section because we're going to talk about adjusting our time perspective. So Bill Gates says this, and Gary Keller says this as well. He says most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and way underestimate what they can do in 10 years. Now, Gary will say 5 years. And Gary will say you can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years. Let that sink in for a second. You can be anywhere you want to be in 5 years. And I'm an example of that. I mean, just sharing my journey. Like, 5 years ago, I would not think I could be where I'm at right now. And basically what it took is number one, a lot of the mindset fundamentals that we're going through here. And then we're going to talk about who you surround yourself with matters too, as we get further into this. You need to be in the room, so to speak, the metaphorical room with people that are supporting you in your goals. Right, an example of that, and I'll give you an actual example for me again, is my wife and I grew up in very different households. And I grew up with a dad who was in real estate, who was a business owner, so a lot of these things, again, even though he passed away, there was some disarray and he hadn't planned properly, but he taught me a lot of solid fundamentals around money. My wife, on the other hand, grew up in a wonderful, family, wonderful parents. But the mindset there, and she grew up in a small town, was, the idea of you get a job and you work that job forever, and you do a good job and you get a raise, right? So it's this idea, you go and you're 18, you get that job and you work really hard. Like 8 to 10 hour days, or not 8 to 10 hours. Her dad worked 10 to 12 hour days, and you get a raise, and you provide for your family, and that's all there was, right? And then whatever income there was, you kind of make do with that, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's the thing. There's no judgment in that either way. That formed her thoughts around money. So there was a mentality in that house that quote, people with a lot of money, there was a story around that, right? Like, well, they're not good people, or, there's something not good about that. And this is the way. So that was her belief system. You guys with me? So goal setting with her, you know, as we came together as a couple was a journey, right? Because she was saying, oh my gosh, well, you know, this is my mindset. And now, you know, fast forward, she's a realtor now and, you know, runs our sales team. But you guys follow where I'm going? Like, that's the journey, right? Is for her to really change her programming around that. And that's the work, guys, that this can help do. Those questions that I asked earlier are the foundations, like that we went through that together, and that was fascinating. She's like, I can't, the number that I threw out, she's like, you know, I don't think my dad earned that in 6 months. Like, I can't even begin to understand the number. Are you guys tracking with me? So you need to have that conversation, and you need to go through this mindset piece. So she would way underestimate where we could be in 5 years. Are you guys with me on this, where I'm going with this? You know, I'm like, we're going to be here. And she's like, okay, well, we're going to be here because we're going to track at this pace, right? That's slower. And so that's the piece to this that's so important is how you think and what your mindset is, right? And how you plan, right? There's another book, guys, that's really good around this in terms of how we plan for the year. So for the gentleman that was talking about, I set my goals and they're not in alignment, I don't hit them. It's called the 12-week year. Any of you guys read that book? That's a really good book. And it's the 12-week year by Brian Moran. And the whole premise behind that book, guys, is it's about how do you compress time? Because here's the trap we get into sometimes, right? We say, okay, great. Well, here's where we are. Let's talk about November. We're in November. How many of you are looking at your numbers right now going, holy cow, like, I'm way under where I wanted to be. Some of you may be there. Some of you may say, hey, I had an amazing year, right? So we're all over the place. If you're saying, hey, my year wasn't what I wanted it to be or what I thought it would be or the goal I set, you're in November, right? And you're going, holy cow, I've only got X amount of weeks left in the year. Now we're going to go to January. So it's January 1. We're like, all right, like I've got my goal. And then it's the end of January, it's February, and you're not on track. What do you say at that point? So if you're not on track for your goal, what's the mindset that a lot of us have around goals? Somebody share with me how. So if you're not on track at the end of February, where does your head go? What do you think? Do any of you think I've got 10 months left to hit the goal? Do any of you go there? Seeing a couple of heads nod. Right. Compression of time. Hey, I've got time. It's only the end of February. Heck, it's not even spring market yet. I'm fine. And you get to June, right? And June's like, oh, well, I'm not on track for my goal. Oh my gosh. Well, I still have 6 months left. Right. 12-week year talks about what if you looked at every quarter as its own year. Right? Did you ever wonder, think about this too, guys. Did you ever have a week so it's the week before you go on vacation. You got a big vacation plan, right? You're going to be out of the office next week. You're going to be out of the country. How much do you get done the day before you leave? It's amazing how much you can get done. Are you guys, well, some of you are saying 0, but do any of you get a lot done? Do any of you like, I have to finish this? Because if I don't finish it, like, I got to get on this plane, right? Like, and I'm my phone's off, like I'm out of pocket. Some of you might get a lot done. Some of you been like, man, I got more done Friday than I got done all week. That's because that's a compression of time, guys, right? Like you're up against the wall. Got to get it done. Can't procrastinate it to next week, right? That's the 12-week year. It's how do you look at every quarter in that way? So another good book. So we talk about short game and long game, right? And so I think when we look at our mindset around money, right, and our mindset around investing, we have to identify what our goals are, right? When we go back to this 1 year, which is short game, and this 5 year, which is more or less a long game, and you can go out further than that. It's this idea of what goals am I setting specifically around each? Right. And am I clear on what's going to drive a short game and what's going to drive a long game. Okay, are you guys with me on that? So just kind of foundationally. Okay. Here's the other thing that works along with this. And this is, someone else brought this up earlier around like, how do you get started? And I'm going to simplify this down, and there's more to this, guys, but the biggest thing is take action and take action now, right? You know, I go back to an analogy, and how many of you guys have kids, younger kids? All right, there's a few of you on here, so you can relate to this with me. So last year, we were teaching my son to swim. Anybody gone through that with kids, teaching them how to swim? Seeing a couple hands, yeah. And so many of you might be able to this will resonate with you. Is my son's in the pool at the pool, right? And he's afraid. Like he was this kid that he loved the beach. He was afraid to get in the water. So all right, he's standing there right by the edge, right? And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking to myself as a parent, I'm like, okay, I could coach. So coaching me comes out. I could coach him through this, right? I could coach him how to do this, or I could just push him in. Now, I wouldn't do that, right? I'm a good parent. He was kind of in the deep end, and I'm like, he'll never forgive me. Am I right though, guys? Those are the two options. I can either coach him on how he jumps in the pool himself, or I can just push him in the pool and know and have confidence that he's going to come up, right? Because he had training, right? This wasn't the first time, guys. I don't want you to, think I'm this horrible parent. Like, he had been in the pool, but he's scared. He's scared to get in that deep end, right? And I knew with the training he had and the practice he had, he'd come up and he wouldn't drown, right? Now, by the way, I didn't do that, but here's the analogy, guys, with this, right? Like, a lot of us are standing at the edge of the pool, right? Think about that. And we're scared, and we're like, oh my God, I'm going to drown. Are you thinking all the bad things that can happen, right? I'm going to drown. I'm going to take down water. Like, it's going to all this horrible stuff. I'm going to swallow water, all that, right? And the key is to just jump in. It's just jump in, right? Because here's what happens. Progress, not perfection, right? Like, just get started and figure out. I'm gonna move my slides forward a little bit. Figure out, because I think the first thing in mindset is making the decision you're going to jump in. Now, you're going to have to also figure out, okay, what's my vehicle going to be? And that's where who you align yourself with matters, right? When I went into investing in properties, I didn't have a background on that. I'd read some books. So again, that's my analogy, guys. That's my swim lessons, right? I read books. I listened to podcasts. I'm like, okay, I have some knowledge. I'm still scared though. I don't, reading a book, does that make me equipped to go spend our money and make a mistake and all that stuff you have emotion wise, right? So then what I did is say, okay, I need to get around people that know how to do this at a high level and that are going to help hold me accountable. So we're going to talk in a few minutes about who you surround yourself with matters, and get yourself around people that are doing what you want to do, right? And we talk about this inner circle, and I'll talk about this in a minute, but that's the key, right? That's what caused me to have the confidence to jump in the pool, right? Because I had people around me that had done that said, you know what? Like, gosh darn it, I'm just going to shove you in, right? And you're going to do fine. And you make mistakes and you fail forward, and you do all those things, and yet that's the step, right, guys? So a lot of us don't have those people around us, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. So I'm going to kind of skip through this, guys, because we just kind of address this in a different way. So, and I want to come back to the last slide that I'm going to go through with you guys after this is that idea of who you surround yourself with matters. So I'm going to come back to that point. But here's the other thing to think about, guys, in terms of opportunity, because some of you might be sitting here going, okay, this is all great, and talking about mindset, and like, I don't even know what opportunity there is. Some of you might be there. You might be like, I don't know, do I buy real estate? Do I invest in the stock market? Like, what do I do? What's the vehicle? So let's look at the opportunities that we have within Keller Williams. Because I think a lot of times what we forget, guys, is we're in the driver's seat of a lot of opportunity, and we may not even look at it that way. You guys with me? So here's just a list that I came up with of opportunities that are in front of you and me every day, right? So number one, and again, this isn't a profit share class, but I have to put it on the slide, right? Like, are we leveraging profit share? That's a passive income opportunity, guys, right? So are we even looking at that? Are we leveraging that? That's one opportunity. Not saying you should or shouldn't, I'm just putting these out, right? Second one is your business. So here's the thing, guys, when I say your business, when you go into a listing appointment, right? So you guys are all successful agents or you wouldn't be here, right? So you go into that listing appointment, there should be two things you think about when you go into that listing appointment. One is, I've got my paperwork and I'm going to get a listing agreement signed, right? Hopefully you're going in with that mindset, right? Or that's another coaching call, right? What's the second thing you should be thinking when you go into a listing appointment? Anyone want to guess? Think about investing now. What else might you think if you've got an investor mindset on?
Whether you should buy that house.
Yes, there you go. You get the award. That's exactly it. So I'm going to either go in thinking I'm either going to get the listing, or am I actually going to buy this house for my portfolio? Now, guys, and thank you for that. That's awesome. How many of you have that mindset? No judgment, but I'm just saying, how many of you go in with that mindset? Again, guys, this is just one small thing you could do that could completely change your world, right? Going in with that mindset. So your business, Keller Williams Market Centers, Canada is growing, guys, right? Like there's opportunity. Colin's a great example of opportunity, right? Like opportunity is there for those that raise their hands. Just saying, there's opportunity. You guys are going to have more market centers. There's going to be growth in Canada, right? Commercial investment properties, right? Like, are you even looking at those, right? We're in the loop with some of these things, right? In the business we're in. How about related businesses? This is a whole nother angle, guys. Like I partially, and here's the thing, I just want to share something with you guys from my journey. I own 100% of nothing. I'll say it again. I own 100% of nothing. I own a percentage, though, of a lot of businesses. So I own a property management business. We own a staging business. We own a transaction coordination business. And I own 25% of each of those, right? So that's another way to look at things, right? It goes back to who you surround yourself with, right? Like those are all multiple streams of income, right? So sometimes we have the mindset that we have to own it, or we have to run it, or we have to operate it. And I shifted my mindset around that. And I said, I'd rather put my money to work for me. And we have talented people in place in all of those businesses that run and operate those businesses. Right, you guys with me? So there's a lot of businesses in our world that we can either start, like as an agent, guys, as a top agent, you could start your own staging business. You could do property management if you choose to. Right? You can form businesses. Right? So again, these are all areas that I think I just wanted to bring up, guys, that like they're in front of us every day, but we may not be thinking about it. So any thoughts on this list? What are you guys seeing, or is there anything on here that you're like, wow, that was an aha that I need to dig into? What are you thinking? Or maybe you guys are like, this guy's crazy. What is he talking about, all this stuff?
What you just said, that you don't own 100% of anything, but you do have multiple streams where your money is working for you. That was a aha moment right there. Staging and property management. Yeah.
I love that. Because a lot of times we don't get into these businesses because we're like, oh my gosh, I don't need another business to run.
Right. And this would be another opportunity of the 500 target that I mentioned to you previously. This would be a good way for me to invest and keep in mind in the future. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Love that. So here's the thing. And I want to jump to this one and I'll wrap that slide in. So who you surround yourself with matters. This is a key piece, guys. And don't misunderstand. Like it was funny because talking to some people about this, they're like, oh my gosh, so I have to get all new friends. I'm like, no, that's not what this is about. This is about having your core 5 people. Gary Keller talks about this. So Gary talks about this idea of wealth determiners. So here's the thing that's cool, guys. We are all a wealth determiner for someone, right? We are all a wealth determiner for someone. My goal as a coach and a partner with the OPs and regional directors that I partner with as a coach, my goal is I want to be one of their 5, right? Like I want to be one of the core wealth determiners that helps them on their journey, and I'm the guy that's going to help push you in the pool, and coach you, consult you, right? So we're all the wealth determiners for someone else, right? So someone else, you guys may think about that, like, gosh, I don't know who that might be. Chances are you're in someone's 5. You may not realize it, but you are. Here's the thing I want to share with you though. Who is your 5? Right? So as we talk about this today, and we talk about the mindset around wealth, we talk about, really sitting down and looking at where we are, where we want to get to. And then, in future sessions, Colin, you're going to get more tactical with this, right? Where you're going to go into strategies on how to do things. You're going to align yourself with those people, right? Because when I made the determination, I said, you know what? We want to do, it was a we thing, right? My wife and I, we said, we want to invest in properties that make sense for us. Then I said, great, who do I need to be in business with? Who do I need to be in my inner circle to support me in that goal? Right. And that's where it gets fun, right, guys? Because then, and it could be business partners, it could be coaches, it could be mentors, but surround yourself with people that are going to support your goal. Here's the opposite of this. And my wife knows I use her in all my examples, so just saying. But my wife's a good example of this. She transformed that. Like she had a circle of friends or colleagues or people in her world that were actually limiting her around that, because they had a similar mindset, right? And she said, okay, that's not going to help me move to the next level. So, and it's not about like we have to get rid of all of our friends, right? It's not that, but we have to get that 5 around us to say, okay, these are the people that are going to help elevate us. These are the people that are going to hold us accountable. These are the people with the knowledge, right? Like I didn't know anything about, what I was doing. And so I tapped into people. And there's a lot of resources out there, guys. One resource I want to plug right now, from my personal experience, it's been a huge resource for me, is a network called Bigger Pockets. Have any of you heard of Bigger Pockets? Okay, I'm seeing a couple nods. So it's Bigger Pockets, like a pocket in your pants, biggerpockets.com. Check the website out. It is a huge network of people that are passionate. Their main focus is real estate investing, but they get into a whole lot of other areas of investing, guys. I've built more connections through that platform. 3 of my 5 I met through Bigger Pockets. And these are people that I call on. I say, hey, I'm looking at a deal, help me. And you guys track where I'm going with this, like that. You've got to build that team around you. Because after all, we move further, faster with the team, right? Versus alone. So any thoughts on this, guys? Because this is really an important piece to think about. How are you guys thinking about this? Or what ahas are you taking?
What I would like to even share on this, Tim, because I think it was Jim Rohn that says you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yes, that's true. That's it.
Who's in your 5? If your goal this year is to lose weight, but the people in your 5 are all overweight, you're not going to lose weight.
Yep.
Right?
That's well said. Exactly.
You look at what your current income is right now, whether it's 100,000 or a million, the people in your five, you're the average of those people. I would say you add up your 5 people, you divide it by 5, you add up their income, divided by 5, and that's your income right there. So if you're looking to increase your income every year, start adding people into your 5.
Yep. Yep. 100%. I love that. So I'm just going to come off my screen share here. So again, those are the 7 areas I really wanted to key in on. And I guess what I'd love to hear from you guys is there's a lot of information in that, right? And you know, there's homework in that too, right? That we have. I would love to hear kind of a takeaway and more importantly, like, what are you going to take action on from this? So who wants to jump in and share? Would love to hear that. Everybody's deep in thought, taking
I'll go.
notes. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, this was amazing. Thank you, Tim. I think the one area I had never explored is my 5. So this is actually, pretty relevant to what I want to do. So that's definitely.
Yeah. Thank
Yes.
you, Matt. And you were the one that shared, you know, about how you set goals, right? And how that 5 can support you in that, because that was the thing, like on my journey, my 5 helped me be both realistic and aggressive, right? Based on their experience. So love that. Thank you. I think we've got, and I don't know, Colin, do you want to, I think we've got some posts in the comments. I don't know. Do you want to read some of these or?
Oh, sorry. Lisa's.
Oh, that's okay.
Lisa's
I've got it pulled up.
stating-
I can read through some of these.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah, so there's some good stuff in the chat here, guys. I'm just going to share this with everybody. You know, a few comments on, am I going to buy the property or list it? I think that one's like so basic, but sometimes we don't think that way, right? Let's see. I do mortgages and real estate. It goes hand in hand. Yeah, you know, that's the other thing too, guys. Like, you know, and it's based on your own, you know, your laws in your area. But we've got agents that own mortgage companies or pieces of mortgage companies or pieces of title companies. That's a whole nother direction you can go, right? Love that. Start the conversation with my husband. Start with the conversation with my husband to gain alignment on how we move forward within both of our comfort zones. Yes. Yeah, that alignment's important, guys. And you know, from a relationship standpoint, you know, and again, you know, I'm not an expert. I'm in this with you guys, right? But that's why a lot of relationships suffer or end, right? And I'm not just talking about like personal relationships. I'm talking about business relationships as well. It goes back to you're out of alignment in that area, right? And money is a big part of that in both of those spaces. So love that. Cool. What else do you guys have? Anyone else want to share? Like what action are you going to take? That's what I would really love to hear. What are you going to do with this?
I really enjoyed the part when you spoke about passive income, because to me, it kind of feels like a no-brainer. Like if you can put a system in place that's going to continuously bring in predictable income, even a small amount, is still, you're doing it. It's coming in, right? And you're not doing a ton of work to make it happen.
Yep. I love that. Yeah. It's being clear on active versus passive. And then I always look at things like levers, right, guys? Like what levers am I going to pull to activate passive income? And what are my goals and plans around that? So love that. Thank you for that, Gail. One more before I let you guys go. Who wants to wrap us up with a big one? One more. I know you guys got it in you. Who wants to share?
Pay yourself first in education and financially.
Yeah, love that. Love that. Thank you for that, Faye. Colin, I'll give you a bonus one. Anything you want to wrap up with?
I just think this was amazing, Tim. There was a lot that we covered. obviously you and I will talk about how do we add a part 2 to this.
Yeah,
That
yep,
we can
definitely.
also a bit deeper in certain areas. But like Faye mentioned, paying yourself first, that is big. Who's in your top 5? That's always a huge one. So
yeah, here's the thing, guys. And again, thank you for your time and sticking with me. An hour and a half on Zoom, I know I'm with you guys. I'm on Zoom, and I appreciate you guys being here and engaging. Here's my biggest advice though, is the take action now. You know, who's in your 5, you know, and here's the other thing, keep moving forward. Like Colin's going to put a really robust program together. And keep coming, right? Like this is a journey, and you guys are all gonna grow together. You know, I didn't count how many people are on here, but this is a good sized group. And like anything else, guys, here's what happens. It's like the gym in January. Any of you go to the gym?
Yep.
Yeah. First week of January, is it full?
yes.
Yeah,
It's
it is,
overflowing.
isn't it? Yeah, it's overflowing. And then what happens by about the 20th?
Is very few left.
Yeah,
Back
you're
to
looking
normal.
around, you're like, well, what happened, right? So don't let that be this time. Don't let that happen here, right, guys? Like keep moving forward and stay committed on the journey, whatever it is for you, because again, I'm excited for you guys. Colin, you and I'll talk. I'd love to come back and
Yes.
you know, and be one of your valuable contributors, and you guys will bring other people on that are going to help you tactically as well. And you guys can, you know, grow this thing to where you want it to grow to. So it's exciting.
Tim, that was truly amazing. On behalf of Keller Williams Realty Center, truly appreciate your time that you shared here with us, and looking forward to growing with you. See you at the top, brother.
All right. See y'all later. Appreciate you.
Bye, everyone. Stop recording.